What's happening everyone, TomGorian here, and with league racing season beginning on F123, I thought I'd make a video just talking to you guys about how I, myself, prepare for my league races. I think this video is kind of useful considering the fact that a lot of you people who watch my videos either are involved in league racing or just want to try and get quicker on F123. So I thought in today's video I would just do a video talking about how I prepare for my league races each and every week, what I do as far as how much I practice and how I practice. And on paper it might not seem like a lot, but I think the main objective is if it helps you get quicker on this game, and if you find something in this video, then that's the objective. But by the way guys, I just want to say that 80% of you are not subscribed to the channel, so if you are watching this video for the first time and you do like what you see, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And if this video does help you in a way as far as you gaining pace or just you understanding the game a little bit more, then make sure you hit the like button. Alright, let's get started. So let's go back a couple years, let's say to around about 2018, 2019 in a way. Because the way I practice now is completely different to the way I used to practice back, 3-4 years ago. So realistically, what I would do is I would bear myself out, and I would usually practice 3-4 times a day, each and every day on the lead up to the race. And by the time that I would be on, race day, I would be slower than in my peak, and that way I wouldn't be performing at my peak. And hence why I wouldn't be finishing on the podiums, I wouldn't be getting pole positions, and I wouldn't be winning races. But now my approach to league racing now has significantly changed compared to my practice that I used to do back 3 or 4 years ago. So the first thing I do when I practice for my league races is that I get myself, acclimatized to the track layout, and the best way I think to do this is on time trial. Time trial, I believe, is the best way to get yourself to understand the track as far as turns, gear ratios, apexes, and just learn the track and get a learn and a feel as far as what setup you can go for and how aggressive you can go on the setup. You can't go in towards a league race with little to no practice expecting to win races if you don't really get a feel for the track and how the track responds and behaves in dry conditions, in wet conditions, unless you do solo practice on time trial. And my practice on time trial isn't really based on laps or trying to get a faster lap time like so many others. It's just me learning the track and me getting ready and just me getting warm-ups. And I'd say that me warming up on time trial is really the best way that I prepare for league races. Now, I want to talk to you guys about something that I personally believe in, and I don't know if anyone else who's watching this video believes in this, but I definitely believe in it because I feel like I've had it done to me before. So, when I've been practicing, I believe that when you're practicing, you can experience over-practicing. Now, what I mean by over-practicing is, let's say you're practicing 6 hours, before your league race begins, and there's a certain time in your practice where you're at your peak and at your prime as far as qualifying pace and race pace. What over practicing is where you're slower than your peak. So for example, how I've just mentioned time trial is the rise, and then when you start to do your first laps in quali mode and in Grand Prix mode, or even a multiplayer mode with your friends, you start to understand your setup, understand the car, understand the track. That is your peak, and you'll start to get slowly but surely higher and higher and higher as far as your qualifying laps and your race pace, and you'll understand fuel loads, ERS management, and you'll start to just understand everything as far as setups, the track, and just your general lap-to-lap pace, to the point where you're at your peak. Over practicing is when you're slowly losing, half a tenth, a tenth and a half, maybe 2 tenths in qualifying and in the race, and you're just wondering, hang on, what am I doing wrong? Am I doing anything wrong? Am I hitting my apexes right? And you're noticing how you're doing everything right, and you're losing time still. That is what I call over practicing, and you start to get a little bit burnt out because you're spending around about too long than you should be practicing for a league race. And the reason why I believe in this theory is because I've actually experienced this. Like, when I used to practice for my league races, 3-4 years ago, I used to spend at least 7 or 8 hours, 9 hours a week, just doing laps after laps after laps, and then by the time race day came, I'd be 5 temps or 4 temps, literally, past my peak. So I do believe in this theory that, you can, experience, over practice and overburn to the point where you are losing time and to the point where you're slower than what your prime time is. And the most important thing when it comes to practice and your league race is that you want to be hitting your prime literally when the session begins. So you want to be hitting your personal bests in qualifying, you want to be doing your best lap times in the race in your peak. You don't want to be doing it on the rise or, in the burnout point of your practice. You want to be hitting your peak literally right before the league race and as soon as your league racing session begins. So now let's talk about how I practice for my league races. So right now, as I speak, we're on Friday, and my first league race of F123 is tomorrow night. So what I will do is I'll just literally do one qualifying lobby literally tonight around about 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock and get it out the way and just get a general feel for the game and get a feel for the car and for the setup. And I do believe that setups do change as far as, day to day, as far as how they feel on track and how they handle. So you can't expect the setup to feel the same on Friday as it does on Saturday. I guess it will change based on either track conditions or just personal preference. But what I like to do is to get in the zone. I would like to do one qualifying session the day before, and in that way I'm warmed up for race day. And then what I would usually do is I would wait until around about 2 o'clock to start my practice. I would spend around about 15 minutes on time trial, just getting used to the track, getting used to the conditions, and just getting used to just the car and the game itself. And then what I would do is I would do just a single player Grand Prix mode of short qualifying and then the 50% race at the track I'm racing on, which in this case would be Silverstone. So short qualifying in dynamic weather, and I would literally do 50% race around Silverstone, and in that way I would get a genuine understanding of my fuel load, ERS management, and how the setup feels in a qualifying trim and also a race trim, so that when it comes to practicing later on I can make adjustments, I can make the corrections that I need in order to be at my best. So once I've literally done the single player, practice, then I'm literally practicing with my online friends, with my teammates, literally 3-4 hours before, it's time to race. And it's the same thing for online. Online does feel different compared to single player Grand Prix mode. I do believe it's slightly quicker than Grand Prix mode, even with equal cars. But I do believe that the online multiplayer is quicker and it does feel different. So you want to be doing that to simulate the best, lap times out. And you want to be literally doing the same conditions, the same settings as you would normally do for your league race. So for me, it's literally short qualifying and then the 50% race, and that's what we usually do. We would never really compete or complete the 50% race. We usually do one stint or something, and that's what I would always do. Just short qualifying and then do the first stint, and then if you're happy, just continue along, and if you're not, you would obviously make changes as the minutes and the hours go on. I would usually practice for around about 2.5 hours, and then have a little bit of a break, have me dinner or something, and then come back an hour before the lobby begins, and then just do one last practice session just to make sure that, okay, am I happy with the setup? Does anything need adjusting? What about my race setup? Is my fuel load, is that correct? My tire pressures, how does the setup react to the race conditions? Just certain things like that. Last but certainly not least, make sure you practice in both sets of conditions. Doing constant laps in the dry is very important as far as, just the base practice, but it's all worthless if the race session, if the actual league race session is in the wet and you've done no practice. It's like literally half-arse in practice. You can't literally expect to do practice in the dry only for your league racing session to be full wet conditions. So I like to make sure that I do at least an intermediate, qualifying sim and an intermediate race sim, just to just for me to get used to what the game feels like on rainy conditions. And I've got to also try and make a setup that is also quite similar for intermediate conditions or even wet conditions, so that when it does come to the race session, at least I have a wet setup there if I need it. So never underestimate the power of literally rainy conditions when you're doing your league races, because chances are 9 times out of 10 you might need them. And that is how I practice for my league races on F123. If this video has helped you at all with your practice for your league races, make sure to hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel for more league racing content as league racing season begins. Let me just say that everyone has their own preferences about how they practice, how long they practice, and what type of style or format that they practice. Some practice with full race distance or full qualifying or full dry conditions or full wet conditions. Others don't practice that much, some do. The F1 esports guys, they practice hours upon hours on end to achieve maximum results. But for the casual like me and maybe yourself, maybe this video has helped you, and that's all I'm trying to do with this video. If this video has helped you with your practice, then leave a comment down below and just tell me your league racing story about how you practice, and let me know if this video has helped you at all. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel for more F123 league racing content as league racing season gets underway once again, and also hit the notification bell so that you never miss an upload. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video in a bit.